Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're actually going to be doing a review of Dior Homme the Parfum version. Now, much like different flankers or different intensities, I like to do instead kind of like a comparison video rather than a full review of the actual fragrance. Now, I maintain that true even if no matter how close the fragrance smells or how far it smells, I kind of like to try and keep that in perspective now and do it like that. So this is not going to be a full review, so to speak, but I'm going to try and touch on each of the aspects of the fragrance that people may be interested in. This is a heavily requested one, and I apologize this took so long, but this one's a little bit difficult to get because I wasn't able to actually purchase it here in the States. And so I got in on a split from one of our fellow reviewers, Natasha, who's overseas, and she sent me the bottle for it, or I'm sorry, a split bottle for it. So I got this right here. This is what the original bottle looks like. Now the new bottle actually kind of looks pretty cool. It looks very similar to the Dior Homme Intense bottle. I still need to kind of read up and see the differences between the bottles and how they look. But either way, the bottle looks kind of like the same like this. It's just got a different coloring for it. All right. So with that, let's just go right into it and I guess get on with the actual comparison of it. So the first thing to notice, or that I would say, is Dior Homme Parfum is not so much like Dior Homme, the original. The original contains, I could say, a pretty strong heavy iris, and it's that lipsticky type of a vibe to it that this contains. Same with Dior Homme Intense to some degree. They have this lipsticky type of a vibe to it, which is coming from the iris. Now the iris in this fragrance is, in Dior Homme Parfum, is heavily toned down. And by heavily toned down, it's going to replace with something else. Rather than getting a heavy iris right off the bat, what you get is, to me at least, it smells like a chocolatey sweet, like leather type of a smell right off the top. It almost smells very similar. It reminds me in a lot of ways to Dior Homme Intense right off the top of the actual fragrance, which is pretty interesting for it, but it's closer to Dior Homme Intense. Now, that's not saying that it smells like Dior Homme Intense, because to me, it really doesn't smell all that similar to Dior Homme Intense. It takes a very different turn on this, and it becomes a very heavily leather-based fragrance. Imagine. Here's a good comparison. Imagine Dior Homme Intense kind of mixed in with Angel Man. The original Angel Man, the heavy hitter, the heavy smeller one. That's really what I start to get off of like the transition after it's been on my skin for about half an hour. After it's been on my skin for, I guess you could say, an hour, 2 hours, is when I really start getting a nice leathery, almost, I want to say, incensey type of a woody type of smell. Some people have said that it smells like oud on it, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. The note fragrance listing for this is 3 simple notes: iris, leather, and sandalwood. Personally, just because I've smelled so many other sandalwoods, I don't really think it smells like sandalwood. So that's why I can hear people saying that, oh, it gives them an oudy type of vibe to it. I don't quite think it's oud. It's just some wood, I'm just going to say, that it really reminds you of. So you get a very heavy leather, sweet, woody type of a smell too. So as far as the performance on this is not lacking at all. Performance on this is great. It's fantastic. Performance on this lasts easily over 12-15 hours, stays on your skin a long time. I've had the pleasure of wearing this for well over a week at this point, and it's just a monster in terms of projection. For that I usually only go 2 sprays on this, maybe 1 spray. I've actually gotten away with 1 spray on this in the winter. This is a projection monster. It's up there. Now, if you're to ask, okay, well, Cody, do you think I should buy this if I have Dior Homme or Dior Homme Intense or anything like that? And I personally say yes. It's a different enough of a fragrance from both of those two. It's a fragrance in its own right. In fact, I almost feel like labeling it Dior Homme Parfum was more a move on Dior's part to kind of attach it to the popularity of the Dior series, or of the Dior Homme series, because I mean, they're rock stars in the fragrance community. There's no doubting about that. And if they were to name it something different, maybe it wouldn't get as much acclaim as it's been getting. But it definitely is an excellent fragrance in its own right, and it doesn't really feel like a flanker of Dior Homme. And that's just because of Dior Homme. Well, actually, you know what? I'll probably have to take that back. just because I guess because they've already used Dior Homme Intense, and Dior Homme Intense didn't really feel like a true flanker, even though it definitely is. You know what? Forget I even said anything on that. It definitely belongs in the Dior Homme series. It's an excellent fragrance, I personally think, and it's definitely worth your money to go ahead and at least check it out to see if it's something that you'll like. Now, I would say that if you are a fan of, like I said, Dior Homme Intense and a fan of Angelman, both of them, I would say you're probably going to like this. If you're a fan of Dior Homme Intense and not a fan of Angelman, I'm actually not sure if you'll like this one. If you're a fan of Dior Homme, the original version, yeah, you're gonna have to try this one because they're really not that similar in that way. So this is one that I will definitely be purchasing the full bottle of, and it's pretty rare at this point for me to actually go out and purchase fragrances, the full bottles at this point. I've got so many that I really don't feel in most cases that it's worth it to pick up a fragrance, especially if I have something that smells similar or not. But for this one, I make an exception because it is unique enough that I believe it really does stand out, and I like it enough that I really do want to actually purchase the bottle. Of course, I'll do some searching around now. I haven't seen the new situation. I'm not sure if it's available in the United States for purchase yet, or if it has been, but maybe in some time it will be. I may just still have somebody overseas purchase it and send it to me. All right? So let me know what your thoughts are on Dior Homme, the Parfum version, compared to the original. I'm always curious to hear what people see of it, but either way, that's pretty much what I'm going with. All right? That's pretty much it. Thank you, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.